I'm MiRey.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Ref Ryan.
And you're
in the Dogpound.
Welcome to Dogpound. We stuff all the chalk talk and dirt we can into 30 minutes weekly. I'm Ref Ryan Welsh alongside MiRey Fernandez and Gabe Trevino. Here's what's coming up. First, we learned yesterday Chicago Bears matriarch and team owner Virginia McCaskey had passed away at 102 years old. We'll talk about what this means for the Bears moving forward. Then, after starting the season 13-0, the Dogs boys basketball team dropped 2 in a row. First to South Bend, Washington last weekend, and then another one last night in a packed Portage gym. Next, with tonight being the start of Super Bowl weekend, we will, of course, be giving you our final insights, thoughts, and bold picks for Super Bowl 59. Who do you think Gabe has in this one, Ray?
I bet I could tell you.
And to wrap up the show, our Freaky Fast Friday finale. Let's get into it.
Bears principal owner Virginia McCaskey passed away at the age of 102. She had been around the Bears organization for much of her life, and over the last 24 hours, many former players, coaches, and those who worked with the team have been reflecting on what she meant to the Bears organization and are starting to wonder how her passing will affect the Bears' future.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans. 46-10, the final.
My dad was head coach of the Chicago Bears, and nobody cared.
The loss of Virginia McCaskey is touching so many people, including former Bears quarterback Jim Miller.
She's a wonderful woman. Last I spoke with her was at the 100th anniversary. Still there, had all her wits about her. She loves the Bears, and she loves her family.
Virginia was all about her faith, her family, and her football team, says former Bears coach Dave Wannstedt.
She was such a hands-on, not involvement, but knowledgeable and interested in every game, every play.
Wannstedt went on to say McCaskey didn't miss a beat, quiet yet observant, and she always stayed down to earth, despite her position.
She was not dependent on a lot of people. I mean, she could have had the limousines and the entourage and everybody. No, it was usually her son Pat or one of her daughter-in-laws, Barb, George's wife, or somebody with her, and that was it.
She had the respect of everyone, from players to coaches and reporters. In a statement, the Bears organization said, "While we are sad, we are comforted knowing Virginia Hallis McCaskey lived a long, full, faith-filled life and is now with the love of her life on earth. She guided the Bears for 4 decades and based every business decision on what was best for the Bears players, coaches, staff, and fans." After assuming control in '83, the team followed by capturing 5 straight NFC Central Division championships from '84 to '88 and capping a magical 1985 season with a 46-10 rout of the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20. Guys, this is obviously sad for the McCaskey family and the Bears organization as a whole, but what does this mean for the future of the Chicago Bears?
Well, the first question I hear everybody asking is, will the team get sold? And I think what you have to look at is, was Virginia McCaskey ever going to sell the team? And in my opinion, she had no intention on doing that. So why would her sons do that? Or would they? Do they want the money? And if so, I mean, who are they going to sell it to?
Guys, I think it's flat out nepotism. I think that she would want her sons to keep control of it, but I think most of the public in Chicago and most fans like yourself would want the team to be sold. I mean, I think right now it's fine under the ownership they're on. I think they're turning a corner as of recent. Their success hasn't been great, but I think they're turning a corner. Caleb Williams had the best Chicago Bears quarterback rookie season of all time. I think they're turning a corner. I think it's just fine where it's at.
Listen to me, Gabe. We haven't won a Super Bowl since '85. Last time we've been to a Super Bowl, I wasn't even born. 2007, and that is insane. Listen, all respect to the McCaskey family, all respect to the McCaskeys right now. I got to give credit where credit's due. Her son George just gave a blank check to Ben Johnson, but I don't know, man. The McCaskey family has just haunted me as a Chicago fan for years now. And I've only been a fan since 2018. Almost every year has been a massacre, a nightmare. But I don't think they're going to sell a team. I mean, Virginia McCaskey's father bought the team for $100. I could pull that out of my back pocket right now. And they bought it for $100, and I don't think they're going to sell it again. It's just it's a family business at that point, guys. It's a family business. They really need to sell the team, but I don't know to who. The top names are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. I don't want those two rich people running my football team. I want a person who loves the sport of football. I want a person who knows what they're doing. I want somebody who loves the Chicago Bears and will put them in the right direction. Gabe, you said they're turning the corner. It's too early for that.
Caleb Williams had the best rookie season as much as I like to hate on him. And I do hate on Ben Johnson too. But Ben Johnson, I think he's going to be a fine head coach. I don't think the Bears are going to do as good as most Bears fans think. But Ben Johnson's a great young head coach.
Let's look at both sides. First of all, if they don't sell the team, do you think being under McCaskey ownership will be a downfall? Do you think they'll stay in the slump, or do you think it doesn't matter with the coaches that they're hiring, with the players that they have?
Listen, the phrase is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But in this case, it is broken. The Bears organization is dismantled beyond repair. We need a new owner, somebody who will rebuild this franchise. Gabe, you said they're turning the corner with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Yes, they might be.
But MiRey, I've said this before. 80% of your team in the NFL is coach and quarterback. When you have your coach and your quarterback figured out, you got about 75-80% of your team figured out. The owners, people upstairs, they don't matter. They don't matter as long as you have your coach and quarterback figured out. I think you have your coach and quarterback figured out.
They don't matter.
When you have 80% of your team,
1985.
How about the O-line, Gabe? The O-line, does that not matter?
That's why I said 80%.
As an Eagles fan, does that not matter?
It does matter.
Okay.
It really
Gabe,
does.
we're turning the corner because of new faces. Ben Johnson is a new face. Caleb Williams is a new face.
Right?
I love the new face. That's why we need to sell the team to a new face.
But you just said who's going to get it. It's going to get sold to is Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. So if you're saying we have to sell the team, or you want them to sell the team, if those are the options, do you still want? Would you rather McCaskey ownership, or do you want it to go to like Musk?
That's
or
also
Bezos?
part of it. Why I wouldn't sell the team, because there's really no one out there that knows football like that is rich enough to buy a team like the Bears, such a historic franchise. I think the McCaskies have done just fine. They got your one and only Super Bowl. They made one back in 2006. They've done completely fine. They're turning the corner. I think they're going to be just fine with the McCaskey ownership.
Let's look if they do sell it. If they sell it, let's say to, I don't know, like you said, Jeff Bezos, right? Do you think that will be a downfall, or do you think he'll kind of let who's already running it run it, like kind of, you know what I mean?
If Jeff Bezos were to buy it, he'd probably build a new stadium, but that's beyond the point. The point is, do the Bears need to sell the team to succeed? Yes, they do. They need to sell the team to make a Super Bowl in my future.
I don't think so.
Listen, if they don't sell the team, I think I will rest on this earth before seeing a Bears Super Bowl.
By the way, if Jeff Bezos does buy the team, I think he'd turn over all the power to the people, I guess you could say, below him. I don't think he's gonna, have a big enough ego to say, you know what, this is my team, I'm gonna control it. I think he'd send it down to the general managers and the people down, the coaching staff, to control the team. He knows he doesn't know football. Now, Jeff Bezos isn't the only one that's gonna buy the Bears, but I don't think they need to sell it. I think they have a bright future ahead.
What have the McCaskies done to retain
won you your only
the football
Super
team?
Bowl.
Dude, what year was that? How old was your mother?
My mother was probably 7 years old.
Exactly. How old are you now? Like, this is 1985.
It's your one and only Super Bowl.
And we made it in 06, 07.
And you made the NFC Championship in 2010.
Oh, my goodness. 2010. You know how old I was? 3. I was 3 years old in 2010.
Don't you believe in Ben Johnson, though? Shouldn't the ownership not matter?
Absolutely, I believe in him.
So why does the ownership matter?
Because they're going to
coaching
make future
quarterback is
decisions.
80% of your teams.
You know, Gabe, I put my full trust into Ben Johnson. I put my full trust into Caleb Williams and Ryan Poles. But there's some other things. Maybe the concerns with, the parking lot is a huge concern in Chicago. Listen, if the Bears sell the team, if the Bears sold it right now, they might make the Super Bowl this year.
That's just absurd. That's ridiculous. I don't think the Bears are going to get more than 7 wins. They're in the toughest division in football. They have the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings. Who knows what the Vikings are going to look like, but they're still a pretty tough team even without Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. But the Lions, 15 wins last year. The Packers, 11 wins. Probably going to get more this year with Jordan Love. I don't think the Bears are going to get more than 7 wins, but for the future, not just this year, for the future in the next few years, I think they're going to do just fine.
And they will make the Super Bowl if they sell the team. Absolutely.
On the other side of the break, we'll talk CP boys basketball and try to figure out what this team needs to step it up. They're not going to make the Super Bowl. And first of all, 7 wins.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Just fine. They have Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. They're going to be just fine.
As mentioned at the top of the show, the CP boys basketball team opened up the season 13-0. Last weekend, they traveled to South Bend, and last night they traveled to Portage, giving the Dogs their first 2 losses of the season. They fought tough in South Bend, falling 68-64, but last night was a 24-point blowout. They looked like a tough team the first half of the season, and at one point they were number 1 in the state poll. What happened? Are they as good as we thought?
I don't think so. I think they play teams like Hammond Morton, who's Hammond Morton? And they blow them out, and they look all good, and they're number 1 in the state. They play a good team, and they can't beat them. We've been saying for months, since probably October, that Portage is the best team in the DAC besides us. But they just beat Crown Point by 24 points. I think Portage, we have to give them their credit. They're the best team in the DAC right now.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. Portage is the best team in the DAC, but I don't like your point where they can't beat good teams. Gabe, you don't understand that this Bulldog offense is loaded with talent. Dikembe Shaw, Mason Darrell. I mean, just those 2 names alone, and throwing Colby Henderlong off the bench, Colby Henderlong, and he's tremendous. He's a hustler. This team is full of hustlers. All they need to do is clean up some things on defense. I still have some trust in this Crown Point boys basketball team.
There's 2 things they need to do. Not only just clean up on defense, perimeter defense specifically has been a little bit of a problem for the Dogs.
It's been bad. Their perimeter defense
but also, how about their shooting? And not just their shooting, their free throw shooting. Their free throw shooting. How many free throws did they miss in Chesterton?
They went
and Portage?
under 45%, which is awful.
And guys, you can't really fix that. You can fix perimeter defense, and I know Coach Swan has drills and stuff coached up for them, but you can't really fix shooting. That's a problem. You need team confidence up. When you have your confidence going, your shooting is going to go. And right now, I think the Dogs don't have that much confidence after dropping 2 in a row. 24-point blowout to Portage.
You also have to acknowledge that they both were away games, right?
Yeah.
They weren't here, so that's a little bit of the confidence thing, maybe feeling not at home, you know.
But when you go 13 for 39 from the field, whatever percentage that is, you're not going to win many games. Not even in the DAC, which is one of the weaker conferences.
Listen, we saw these struggles a little bit in the Chesterton game where they couldn't make any free throws late in the game, which allowed Chesterton to get an attempt at the game-winning shot. I mean, it's a miracle the Bulldogs won. They came away with the win. It was an awful, awful 3-point shot at the buzzer. There's no way that would have went in. It looked like, I don't even know, a bing-bing fadeaway. It was bad. It was a really bad shot attempt. It looked like Larry Bird, but listen to me. You can't, as a Crown Point team, shoot like that from the perimeter. You can't, as a team, allow those 3-point shots. I mean, I lost count how many 3-point shots that they allowed.
I believe Portage went 23 for 41. I mean, they shot an insane percentage from the field. Against Chesterton in the first half, defense looked awful, just abysmal. No one was closing out on threes, and as Colby and Dikembe said after the game, we're closeout defense. We weren't playing to the scouting report, whatever they said. And then in the second half, they came out, and that's credit to Coach Swan, how good of a coach he is. And they started closing out on threes and playing great defense.
Yeah,
I have a question for you guys. I'm gonna go back to last season and the problems I saw last season that were mistakes from the young guys and some fouling trouble. Do you think they still have? I know Mason Darrell. Is that Mason Darrell? He has a big heart.
A lot of charisma.
Let's just say that.
A lot of charisma.
He finds himself in foul trouble quite a lot, but they need him. I'm not saying anything. They need him. And
he's a certified hustler. I mean, he changes the game for the Bulldogs. He's getting rebound after rebound after rebound. And on top of that, he's getting steal after steal. You need a kid like Mason.
Yeah, but he needs to not foul.
But Crown Point can definitely rebound from this, guys. I mean, there's a playoff coming up soon. I don't know about you guys, but I think they can make a deep run for sure.
I still believe in this team. I think Coach Swan, as he's proved, he's an excellent coach. I think the team's going to be fine, but I don't think they're going to be back to their old form, number 1, number 2 in the state.
Well, also what you mentioned was they need their confidence back, and how the best way to rebound is gaining some confidence. Do you think they can do that? You say they're going to rebound. Are they going to rebound off
do that with
2 straight losses? I mean, that's all-time low confidence. And when they're missing shots, and when their defense is not at its best, far from it, it's going to be hard to rebound, especially going into the playoffs. The playoffs is where it's hardest. It's the most important, most stress, the biggest atmosphere, and you have to be playing your best basketball going into that, or else it's going to be hard to rebound from it.
You know what? I'm glad the Bulldogs lost 2 in a row. I am. I'm glad they did because they finally faced adversity. Mm-hmm. They finally got that pie in their face. And the pie said, watch out.
I will say, though, that Chesterton game impressed me. Coming out with a win, Chesterton's a 500 team. They're not as good as a team like Portage or even South Bend, Washington. But I mean, they came out of that game. I thought they were fine. Like, I was like, okay, Coach Swan has warned us of a trap game. They come out of this, and they did. They fought tough. But I don't know. Maybe road games. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but I think confidence is the biggest key, and I think wins are the only way you can gain confidence.
We're going to take one more break, but when we come back, it's time to talk Super Bowl, or as we like to call it around here, Gabe's Christmas. Stay with us.
Can't wait for that.
Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Okay, it's the moment Gabe has been living for. If you don't know it, the Trevinos are huge Eagles fans. And if they don't win Sunday night, we won't want to be around Gabe Monday morning. But standing in front of Philly's way are the big, bad Kansas City Chiefs, who are trying to take a stab at history by becoming the first team in the Super Bowl era to win 3 straight Super Bowls. What do you guys see in this one?
I'm going to let you start, Gabe.
Jalen Hurts is going to outplay Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
I'm going to start it just like that. In their first
goodness.
Super Bowl matchup, and now this is their second one.
Gabe.
Jalen Hurts outplayed him. He outplayed him. He lost the game, but he outplayed Patrick
Listen,
Mahomes.
I'd be saying the same thing if the Bears were in the Super Bowl going against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking to get a three-peat.
So do you blame me?
Absolutely, because listen, that's just called fan bias. Gabe, that's called fan bias. I'd be doing the same thing. I mean, I respect it because you're a fan, but look at the numbers alone, Gabe. Jalen Hurts, games played, I mean, just the games played alone, Patrick Mahomes has tons more playoff experience. In the playoffs alone, Patrick Mahomes, out of the 20 games that he's played in his playoff career, 43 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 105.4 passer rating, 5,557 passing yards, and better yet, every year he's been a starter, he's made the AFC Championship
That's incredible.
or better.
That's incredible.
He is the second greatest quarterback of all time, and Jalen Hurts will have sissy numbers compared to Patrick Mahomes.
Without his 4th Super Bowl, you already have him ahead of Montana?
Already. But listen, I don't understand. The Kansas City Chiefs are one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen. I mean, I wish the Chicago Bears were as good as them. The Eagles, they're going to lose, and they're going to lose big.
Okay, well, I don't know about lose big. I can accept the possibility that they lose, but it's going to be something like last time. I hope it's not on a holding penalty. James, it was literally this. Okay, you called it. Okay?
Listen, there's three things. There's 3 things you have to look at, right? First of all, the age-old, saying you can't bet against Mahomes, especially not in the playoffs. You know that game.
Playoff Mahomes,
you know that.
man.
He's not unbeatable.
Listen,
he's not invincible.
Okay, listen to me. Secondly,
he's scary.
He's not a Greek god.
On the Eagles,
he can lose.
on the Eagles side, we have their obvious should be MVP Saquon Barkley, insane, right? Mm-hmm. One of the best seasons from a running back ever. Okay, but if they're not going to rely on them, if the Chiefs, shut him down, which you know how hard that is. Well, you know how hard that is. They're falling back on that receiving core with A.J. Brown and are you kidding me? And Devontae Smith.
Dallas Goedert.
And I know what you're saying. I know
their second option is one of the best pass games in the NFL.
Listen,
that alone should
Let's
be
get
scary.
to the third thing. The third thing is coaching, right? Andy Reid has been here before, and he's
Sirianni.
I know, but he's proved it before.
Sirianni.
Proved that he's capable and talented. And Sirianni, you were trying to fire at the beginning of the season.
I'd like to take a timeout.
Trying to fire.
If
Fire. At the beginning of the season,
I'm
you
calling
wanted
a
to
timeout
fire.
right now. I'm calling a timeout. I just want to get some things in right now. This is playoff Mahomes, Gabriel. I use your full name because it is disrespectful to us how you're just brushing Mahomes off your shoulder like he's some dust. I'm not. Hey, I got my timeout going on right here, Gabe. You got to let me finish.
30 second timeout.
Quiet.
Okay, thank you, Ref Ryan. So this is playoff Mahomes, okay? And that defense will shut down Saquon Barkley. They're going to stack that box. They have guys like Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, and George Karlaftis. I'm just going to name those 3 players because those are the only 3 you need to stop Saquon Barkley. Truthfully, Jamar Chase should have won Offensive Player of the Year because it is much harder to win the Triple Crown than it is to get 2,000
yards
That's my
in a
timeout.
season?
Come on, it is. There's been more 2,000-yard rushers.
You're out of your mind.
Since the Super Bowl era than Triple Crown winners.
Okay,
Jamar Chase.
that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to shut down Saquon. They're going to game plan around Saquon. That's all they're going to do. They're going to make Jalen Hurts win the game. Teams don't trust him. I don't know why. he's going to prove on Sunday night, he's going to prove right in front of your very eyes that he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, also, they have a free first down whenever they're within 3 yards. They have a free touchdown when they're within 5 yards of the red zone.
Sounds like Ref Ryan might be leaning the green way, huh?
I'm just trying to be realistic because you're also, do not brush off playoff Mahomes.
Mahomes is in the GOAT conversation for a reason.
There we go.
But the Eagles have the more talented roster. Their D-line is very underrated. It's probably the worst part on their defense. I still think they're going to wreak havoc. Zach Bond, who you've been defending for the last 3 weeks, he's an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. He might win it.
You know what? That's okay, because guess what? You have that interior offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs that gets to the second level and destroys Zach
Compared
Bond.
to the Eagles?
You have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Those two only. Those are the only two names I need. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey to stop Zach Bond.
Who's going to stop Jalen Carter?
Any run fits. Who's
No
going
one's
to stop
stopping
Jalen
Carter.
Creed Humphrey.
Are you kidding me? One-on-one, Jalen Carter,
Yes,
Creed Humphrey?
absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about the Eagles' offensive line? Jalen Hurts is
Eagles
going to get
offensive
all
line
day.
is great.
Yeah,
it's great. But listen to me. You're not putting enough respect on the Kansas City defense. I mean, I already named you some names. Throw in Trent McDuffie. Throw in a great secondary. And you mentioned coaches earlier, Ref Ryan. Steve Spagnuolo. He is the greatest assistant coach we may have ever seen.
Fangio.
Oh, brother.
Vic
Fangio.
Number 1 defense in the NFL.
Come on. No.
Number 1 defense in the NFL.
Number 2 behind the Chiefs. Number 2 behind the Chiefs.
Behind the Chiefs?
Yep. Steve Spagnuolo has carried this Chiefs defense to realms that we've never seen before.
As Stephen A. Smith would say,
Oh, brother.
that is blasphemous.
Okay. Final predictions. What you got, Ray?
Eagles 31-21. Excuse me, Chiefs 31-21.
You almost leaned the green way.
I tricked you there, Gabe. I
You
tricked
almost
you.
leaned the green way.
How about you?
I'm taking the Eagles 35-31. I think it's going to be high scoring. Jalen Hurts is going to prove he's a top 5 quarterback.
Well, there you go. Gabe's got the Eagles and MiRey's got the Chiefs. But now, it's Ref Ryan's turn to sum it all up in our Freaky Fast Friday finale. While a new owner doesn't guarantee anything, the number of winning seasons the Bears have had since the 90s is a lot less than the number of losing seasons. New owners needed now. Boys basketball team is good, but not great. They're young. The core is made up of juniors, and they are trying to figure it out. Give them some time, and they have a chance at being great by the end of the season. Lastly, Eagles and Chiefs. Chiefs sneak out a win by 3.
Come on.
you're a
You were
smart
leaning
man.
the green the
That's
whole
it for
way.
our show. Check us out on our weekly radio show, Monday and Friday nights at 5 p.m. on thedogradio.com. For MiRey and Gabe, I'm Ref Ryan. We'll see you next week.
You were talking good about the Eagles the whole show.
Bet against them. And everyone knows that. And 5 out of 7 years he's won the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? I want